Kizo speaks confidently about his own land being safe, but stays silent about Fallafashion's land, the same person who gifted him property. Condad places himself in the center of all village issues. On one side, we see him in heated exchange of words with an Estor about roads. On the other side, we see him solving land dispute with Kizo. Before you argue in the comments, understand this. In Kenya, the person who pays for land is not always the person who owns that land. And today, I'm going to explain how Fallafashion TV may have paid for land he does not legally control, and why Kizzo's confidence may be misplaced, and how this situation exposes a pattern people hope you don't notice. Fallafashion TV paid, Kizo received, Marwa and Condad controlled. Now the land is disputed, boundaries are moving, crops are being claimed, and people still want to pretend that this is normal. Today, I'm breaking it all down legally, calmly, and fact by fact.
All poles are down because I left this mound so that not tricky situation, because somebody's calling me here. So this is where we decided to put the new poles. We decided to put the new poles here, but they uprooted it and threw it out. So I think at this stage now, I don't know what to do. Yeah, see, we tried to remove it from here to put it here, of which was the right place to put it, but they are removing them. You see them, these ones.
Let's go. These are family issues.
Lakini nyinyi mngekuwa watu wazuri pale hingelimwa hivyo.
Sasa ngoja nikakwambia aje ile siku. Sikia. Ona shamba yangu ni hapo. Ona. Unaona hapo penye pomochomo. Hiyo ndio shamba yangu. Hii ni shamba ya mtu.
Good people, good individuals, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this amazing YouTube channel that goes by the name Maxwell Lumumba Africa. Maxwell Lumumba is my name, a village content creator born and raised in a village setup with no jobs. But at the end of the day, our sustainability will depend on content creation to earn a living. That being that, today's topic I'm going to talk about how Fallafashion TV was played in Kenya, and why Kizo land is not safer either. And I'm going to give us a full legal breakdown and let us correlate with what we are now witnessing about land dispute. So for those who have not subscribed to this amazing YouTube channel, make sure that you subscribe, like, comment, and share this video to other individuals. And remember to turn on the notification bell so that any day, anytime I post any video, you people get updated and watch these videos till the end. Let me take this chance and appreciate all the organic subscribers, all the people who have joined membership, all the people that watches my videos from the beginning till the end. I don't take you people for granted, and also the supporters who are supporting me directly and indirectly. Remember, the road to being a lawyer is still ongoing. Let us make this dream be realizable. That being that, today I want to speak slowly, clearly, and factually. This video is not about insults, it is not about hatred, and it is not about attacking personality. This is about land, law, power, and patterns. For those who know, when I talk about patterns, I'm going to tell us how foreigners and even locals can be trapped when land ownership is misunderstood or manipulated. I want to talk about Fallafashion TV, Kizo, Kenge, and Condad, and what the law in Kenya actually says, because many people are pretending that everything is fine when it is not. Let me start by saying this about Fallafashion entered the picture. Fallafashion TV came to Kenya, specifically Nyabuhanse, with the genuine intentions. He wanted to invest, he wanted land, he trusted the people around him, especially the people who made him traveled all the way from United States to Kenya. The people who introduced him to the land, facilitated the process, and handled the transactions were Kenge and Condad. The buyer were Jamaican who are naturalized US citizen, foreigners under Kenyan law. Now pause and emphasize this. And this is where the first legal red flag appears. What Kenyan law says about foreigners owning land. Under Kenyan constitution, foreigners cannot own freehold land. Foreigners can only own land on leasehold terms up to 99 years, and the land must be registered properly in the land registry. If land is bought through a Kenyan citizen, then legally speaking, the land belongs to the Kenyan whose name appears on title deed, not the foreigner. Pause here. Friendship does not override the law. Trust does not override the law. Verbal agreement does not override the law either. Let me talk about who is likely the registered owner. Based on what we are seeing and based on how these transactions were handled, I strongly suspect, and I emphasize the word suspect, that the land purchased by Fallafashion TV is not registered in Fallafashion's name, but rather the name is either Kenge or Condad, mostly likely Marwa. Let me talk about the key line, slowly delivery. That means that the person holding real power over the land is not the person who paid for that land. Let me also talk about where Kizo comes in. During this entire period, Kizo was the closest associate to Marwa, because you know how this pattern goes. Mayugno, by then, Kenge claimed that Mayugno and Nico Buddha betrayed him, so that means Mayugno was not in this cycle. So Kizo's roles were very clear. He escorted Fallafashion TV and the Jamaicans to view land. He acted as a bridge between buyer and sellers, and he was trusted as one of us. Then drop reveals, and Kizo was gifted land by Fallafashion. The footage are there, evidently, where even Kizo was saying that they were also bribing the villagers so that they can give them access road to that land. And that is the point that Marwa himself said about that is going. He told Fallafashion TV that go get more money, then I'll show you how we are going to buy the entire village from these villagers. Leaving that aside, let me talk about why Kizzo's land is a gift, not a purchase. In real estate law, for a sale to be valid, there must be consideration, some form of payment documented or probably. In Kizzo's case, there is no evidence of payment. That means that the land Kizzo claims is his was not purchased, it was gifted. Let me give us an important clarification. A gifted property can still be legal, but only if transfer is properly registered and documented. So that tells us that the way we see things are, all those lands are registered either in Marwa's name or Condad's name. But the way he said, I really suspect that that name is still Marwa's name. Let me talk why my Kizo talks confidently about his land. Kizo walks around confidently saying that my land is safe, and maybe he believes that because his land is tied to Fallafashion TV goodwill, not to a complex foreign ownership arrangement, then the hammer. But while Kizo is busy assuming himself, Fallafashion land is exposed. Because let me talk about the video with the landowner, which is very important. I know some people might not be understanding Swahili, and I'm going to translate what was happening.
Things are not okay here, because when we were buying the land, we were told that this land we are buying everything, including the trees, but the maize were to belong to the owner of the farm. But right now, they are now again saying that they didn't agree, that they are selling for us the trees. So like they're trying to say that they are going to come and cut down all these trees, so these trees belong to them. But in the initial agreement, when we were agreeing, they said that whatever we were buying was the land and the trees. So I don't really understand how these people are being like this.
Kizo did a video where he calls the so-called owner of the land, and the owner says something very dangerous. I sold you the land, but not the trees, not the maize. Pause here. Under Kenyan law, that statement alone raises massive legal questions. It explains clearly that normally when land is sold, fixtures and crops attached to that land should be passed with ownership unless explicitly excluded in a written agreement. Then the seller saying that they will harvest the corn at their own pace.
Unajua kila mtu amevuna ni wetu, lakini ameniambia unatoa kesho. Acha.
This shows continued control, meaning that the land transaction is either incomplete, conditional, or disputed. And for this, I am actually believing that this land is still disputed. Let me talk about the hostile environment and boundaries manipulation, because I'll be playing clips about these.
Haya, ploti ni ya watu wengi. Wewe utangangania, tunangangania huyu, unangangania huyu. Hii ploti ni ya ujue ununue ploti megano na watu wangapi huko. Kitu kwanza katununua mpaka unajua, sikia. Huu mpaka vile unaujua hapa. Wewe unajua ni mpaka watu wangapi? Unajua ni mpaka watu wangapi? Haujui ni mpaka watu wangapi?
Ile siku tulifanya kazi vizuri. Lakini mwenye amelima pale ndiye ameleta issue yote.
Mimi nakwambia bro, mpaka ujui wa watu wangapi? Mpaka ujui wa watu wangapi?
Then we then see fencing attempts. Posts are removed, boundaries are disputed, villagers start changing markers. Then we can hear a firm tone. This is a classic behavior where ownership is unclear or when the real buyer is absent and the foreigner. And because we know that Fallafashion TV is not coming from Kenya, that is why we can see all those old shenanigans. Even when Fallafashion TV was around, there is an incident that happened in the eyes of Marwa himself, where there was an issue about those polls, where Fallafashion TV questioned, and I actually did a video about that, asking people that why did Fallafashion TV questioned about these holes that are being dug. Then Marwa himself actually got out of that zone and went ahead to mind his own business and ignored Fallafashion TV. And the person who stepped in these threats is the Condad, where Condad used threats and authority.
Hapo ndio nakwambia nitatumia nguvu zangu zote.
It's a very wrong boy. Umemaliza?
Yeah.
Umemaliza?
Yeah. This is strong. Hizi ziko sawa isipokuwa kule kwa kona. Ndio huyu kijana mdogo alikuwa ananinsist ati anataka njia nikakataa.
Watu kuendelea sana. Ndio maana niliwaambia pale tulipata post hapo. Sababu nawajua hawa ni watu wa aina gani.
Condad came and threatened people, saying that the matter will be handled with or by the authorities. But here's the truth. Authorities don't resolve land dispute based on threats. They resolve them based on title deeds, registry records, surveys, land control board approvals, and courts. Let me say this. Authorities that should handle these legally, I'm going to list them slowly. Proper land disputes in Kenya involve the Ministry of Lands, the Land Registry, the County Surveyor Office, the Land Control Board, the Environment and Land Court, and in some cases, DCI for fraud and investigation. Then stress, not YouTube arguments, not intimidations, not emotional pressure. Let me talk about the core problem: selfishness and silence. Now, the moral critique, calm but sharp. What bothers me most is this. Kizo speaks confidently about his own land being safe, but stays silent about Fallafashion's land, the same person who gifted him property. How selfish do you have to be, feel secure, while the person who empowered you is exposed? Let me say this. Fallafashion TV trusted relationship instead of registries. He relied on locals who held structural power. He wasn't present on the ground consistently, and the system took advantage of that absence, then concluded strongly that, and let me be very clear, if Fallafashion TV's land is not safe, my Kizo land is not safe either. When the foundation is shaky, everyone standing on it is at risk. Let me say this. This is not hate. This is not jealousy. This is a warning. Land does not respect friendship. Land respects paperwork. If people think the public is not paying attention, they are wrong. Goodbye for now.